Check, 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 mic check. Check, 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 mic check. Check, 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 mic check. Check. Good. Check, 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 mic check. 1, 2, 3, mic check, mic check. You got it? Okay, cool. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brian James. I'm the Chief of Police of the Greensboro Police Department. First of all, I would like to thank you all for being here, as well as thanking several of our city council members. I have Mayor Nancy Vaughn, I have Councilperson Dr. Goldie Wells, I have Councilperson Sharon Hightower, and Councilperson Mary Kay Abuzuator. We are standing here today just united, really, and also with the rest of council, speaking out against violent crime and what we've got going on in our city right now. And I'd just like to say a few words, and after that I will turn it over to Mayor Vaughn, who will have some remarks. This year has been full of unique challenges to which we have all had to learn and adapt. The results of those challenges have led to an ever-changing landscape that requires all of us to work together going forward. In the city of Greensboro, we currently have 56 homicides, more than we have ever had, and we still have a month left in the year. Of those victims, 6 are white, 3 are Hispanic, and 47 are African American. I, along with every officer and civilian employee of the Greensboro Police Department, find those numbers unacceptable, and we are working diligently to address this problem. In May of this year, I reorganized the department with a goal to increase efficiency and to specifically address violent crime. As part of the reorganization, we started our violent crime strategy. The violent crime strategy takes resources from multiple divisions and aligns them to better respond, investigate, and solve violent crimes in our community. The goal has been to increase cooperation within the department and with other local, state, and federal agencies to allow better communication and coordination in response to violent crime. In addition, we have tasked our patrol divisions to be more proactive with community policing efforts. We have also completed several special operations that have removed multiple guns and illegal narcotics from the Greensboro community. To date, we have confiscated over 1,000 guns. However, we have had approximately 1,190 assaults involving firearms, which is a 19% increase compared to this time last year. Although we are yielding results through enforcement efforts, this is clearly not enough, and we are continuing to review our efforts to determine what we need to do differently. In July of this year, I asked for the community's help in reducing these senseless acts of violence. This is a community problem and will require a community response. We as an organization have reached out to groups comprised of resources from other city departments, organizations, and individuals that will look at ways we can begin to assess what issues may lead to violent crime and find ways to address those deeper issues. While police are responsible for responding to violent crime, we as a community must address those factors that lead to violent crime. Many of those factors are rooted in access to employment, housing, education, health care, and mental health care, just to name a few. And we ask the community for help in addressing these issues. As we ask the community for help in addressing these issues, we, the police department, must address the individuals who are actively and illegally carrying firearms and are impacting the ability of our citizens to live in safe communities. As I examine the police department, I'll look at our current efforts and how we have allocated our resources. I'll also look at any needs we have or may have for additional resources. I'll also ask our community partners to look at your organizations and determine how efforts can be increased to address the issues that lead to violent crime. As I ask for the help of our entire community by providing us with information that is critical in solving the crimes that are unsolved and alerting us to potential violent activity, we must have community cooperation in that. As we work through these difficult times, the Greensboro Police Department remains committed to reducing violence in our community. We will continue to look at ways we can adjust resources in neighborhoods and find ways to improve relationships in those communities that are most affected. We will support ideas from the community aimed at reducing violence, understanding that a majority of the issues that we face as a community cannot be solved by the police. We will also work to strengthen our relationships with organizations that have the appropriate resources to address the issues that lead to violent crime. I know that we as a community and we as a police department have a lot of work to do. I hope as a community we will embrace honest conversations about how we can build, repair, and improve relationships and build trust. The Greensboro Police Department will continue to do its best each day to ensure that we make Greensboro a safe place for all people. At this time, I'll ask Mayor Vaughn if she would come up, and she has a few remarks.
Thank you, Chief. I want everybody in the city of Greensboro and Guilford County know that as a city council, this is top of our mind. There is not a day that goes by that we don't talk about public safety and what we can do to keep the citizens of our city safe. Even though not every city council member is here at the moment, that doesn't mean that they are not as invested as we are. This is one of our most important topics. I want people to know that we are prepared to assist GPD with the tools that they need to attack this problem. Last year, we heard that there were some technology improvements they could use, which we were able to secure them to get, which has helped them with their above average secure rate. Unfortunately, we don't want to just solve who shot somebody. We want to stop that from happening. But these are not random occurrences. We saw that at the courthouse shooting a short time ago. These are actual, I'm going to say, these are actual hits. We know that there is gang violence in our city, and they are going after specific individuals. We also know that domestic violence is on the rise. Our very first triple homicide this year was a domestic shooting. We need people to know that if they are not safe, there are places they can go. When home is not safe, you should look for somewhere else to go. We want people in our community to be safe. When we look at where these shootings occur, they occur primarily in East Greensboro. And we know that we have to deploy more resources to bring every part of the city up to standards. As the chief mentioned early, this isn't just a policing issue. This is about education. This is about housing. This is about health care. It is a wide variety, and we are going to have to really call on our partners to help us step up. These victims and these shooters are getting younger. We need to find a way to reach our young people now because they are throwing their lives away and they are destroying their families. So as a council, we are all here in unison. We want you to know that this is one of the most important issues that we face. 56 and growing. That is not a record that we wanted to set. But we're not going to be able to police our way out of this. We need the community to help us stop it before it starts. So I would like to ask Mary Kay Abuzawader to say a few words about the Crime Stoppers program. Mary Kay?
Thank you, Mary Vaughn. Thank you, Chief. I think this is something that we all want to prevent in Greensboro. We want to prevent crime. We want to stop crime. We want to solve crime. So anytime something happens, a lot of people are afraid to come forward. They become intimidated. They are scared. They don't want retaliation or revenge on their families. but there is a truly anonymous place where our community can report crime. It is called Greensboro Guilford Crime Stoppers. And Greensboro Guilford Crime Stoppers, there is a phone number that you can call as a community. Our community needs to get involved. Our community needs to report. The phone number for Crime Stoppers is 336-373-1000. Again, that is 336-373-1000. And now Crime Stoppers has initiated an app that you can go to and anonymously report a crime. It does not follow your phone number. It does not follow where you are located. That app is called P3 Tips. I would encourage everyone in Greensboro, please download that app. You never know when something you have seen may become beneficial for Crime Stoppers to get to the police. The way this is reported is that you stay out of it. You totally stay out of it, and you may earn a cash reward. It is all done in such a way that your identity will never come out. So I encourage everyone, if you are in the community, if you see guns, if you see crime, if you hear of someone who is reporting a crime, of someone who is relaying a crime about to happen, please call Crime Stoppers. I can assure you, this is one way for our community to come together and help solve these crimes. Thank you.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I wasn't going to say anything, but it's kind of hard not to say anything when the numbers that the chief just read to you, followed by the mayor saying they're in East Greensboro, don't impact you. I represent East Greensboro as well as my colleague, Dr. Golda Wells. And for us, it goes deeper than simply just saying we want crime to stop. We want families to stay whole. And they are not staying whole when they're losing loved ones at the hands of gun violence. This is not the way to solve an issue. We need to go back to handling our differences in a better manner. And what we're seeing now is what the Mothers Against Gun Violence are crying about. Sons, daughters that will never, ever, ever return home again. And so we must stop this. So if you see something, say something. Yes, do it the way Councilwoman Abuzawaita suggests, anonymously. But say something, because we have to make sure that each and every night that we go home, we feel our neighbor is safe. We will be safe, and our fellow man will be safe. We are better than this, and we know that. So whatever we have to do, because I don't have all the answers, and neither do we. It is not a police issue, simply. If it was, we wouldn't be talking about the numbers. This is a community issue, and we have to address it holistically. Find the resources that help to bring up our community, particularly in East Greensboro, that people need. So I implore you, those of you who are out there listening to us, to say to each other and embrace each other that we must stop what is occurring, and we must work together to get to a better place.
I just want to echo what my colleagues have said and what the chief has said to us. I'm asking each citizen in Greensboro to take responsibility for these statistics that we have. We want things changed, but each person, if you see something, say something. And Councilwoman Abuzawaita has told you how to do it anonymously, and you can do it that way. And my Councilwoman Sharon Hightower and I have a real sorrow in our hearts, because it's our districts that has the greatest number of victims. So help us. Help us. We realize that we can't solve it overnight, but help us to solve this problem. Do your part. Be a responsible citizen and do your part. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for speaking. And let me just say this, you know, if you live in Greensboro, you know, it may not be your neighborhood, but it could be. And it could be someone that you know, or someone close to someone that you know. I mean, I don't know that anyone can really look at this as a citizen of Greensboro and say that you're not affected by it. So, you know, it's not your neighborhood today, it could be your neighborhood tomorrow. And that's what I want to impress upon people. If anybody in Greensboro does not feel safe in their own home, we should all be concerned about that, no matter where you live. We should all be concerned about that. So, again, I appreciate you all being here. I know that this is running through social media. A lot of the people that are not watching right now probably need to watch, so please push it out, get the message out for us. And we'd be glad to take any questions at this point, if you have any.
I remember when you were first sworn in, you said you wanted to do a lot of face-to-face work, get out in communities. Has coronavirus derailed that work, and do you think it would have helped preventing some of this violence?
It has derailed some of that work, and we had to quickly figure out how to get back out in communities. Some of that has been virtual. Some of that has been actual, like walking in neighborhoods door to door as safe as we possibly can. As we were trying to reconnect with communities, we were told, try not to have contact with people as much as you can. The numbers now are even higher. But that one-on-one contact with people is crucial to what we do, because that builds confidence and trust in the police department. They can't trust us if they don't see us and if we don't communicate with them. So it's hard to say that would have derailed some of this violence, but I would say that certainly the restrictions on face-to-face contact have not helped us.
And I'm sure this isn't the year you imagined as chief. You're almost in 1 year. Is there anything looking back, in hindsight as 2020, that you would have done differently?
I would say this. We have literally dissected our department and looked at all of our resources, and we've tried to place them in the best places that we could. Hindsight is always 2020. You know, I could say that I would have directed more resources towards actual proactive, or some people would call them tactical units. But at the same time, as we redirect resources, we have to pull those resources from other places. You know, I think that we are at a time where we do have to look at, do we actually have enough police resources for a city this size? And, you know, we just really have to examine that. As I was doing the community meetings at the very beginning of the year before the COVID-19 restrictions, many people in neighborhoods were saying that they are experiencing crime and hearing gunshots and things like that, and that they don't see us enough. And I would say it's really hard to say that, because you just don't know what's coming. We made the best decisions we could with the information we had. Looking back on it, yeah, that's probably some things we would have done differently, but that's just very difficult to determine.
Chief, a few weeks ago when we last spoke to you, you mentioned how the shooting at the courthouse was insane. Can you expand on that, other than the shooting that happened outside the courthouse?
Yeah, the reason why I said that is because primarily, you know, I'd say when I first got on the police department, and really not all that long ago, a lot of your violent crimes would occur at night, you know, under the cover of darkness. And the reason why I said it was insane was because for someone to try to shoot somebody in broad daylight at 11:30, right outside the courthouse, around the corner from the police department, across the street from the sheriff's office, it was insane. And it shows that we've got a different, we've got criminals with an even different mindset now than what they had just a few years ago. And to be that bold and brazen, and to think that your life is going to go well after you do something like that, to me it was insane. I mean, these, you know, suspects were typically, you know, between the ages of, you know, 18 and 21 roughly. And I just think, I was 18 and 21 before, and I was thinking about doing things, just trying to do something in life. And I just can't imagine what would bring a young person to downtown in the middle of broad daylight to try to kill somebody.
What do you think is contributing to that boldness?
I think that, this is the thing. I told somebody this last week. The people that are carrying guns, that are willing to pull them out and shoot people and things like that, they didn't just wake up one day and it's happened. There's some things that have happened leading up to this. And I told someone, I said, our 12, 13, and 14-year-olds are in that cycle where we really have to be cognizant of what they're being exposed to and what they have access to, because those, if they're not in the right environment, those are going to be your shooters in 3 to 5 years. Because you think about it, if you're 17 or 18 and you're using a gun, just 3 or 4 years ago, you were probably in middle school somewhere. How do you get from middle school to carrying a gun and willing to shoot people? I just, I understand it, but I don't understand it. And that's why I say we as a community, like Ms. Hightower said, this is not just a police thing. This is a community thing. And we gotta figure out what's going on there.
Should we expect additional arrests in the courthouse shooting that happened on the 16th?
It's still under investigation, and we are still looking at additional suspects. So all I can say at this point is we are still working that case. Yeah.
So we're talking a lot about East Greensboro. What can we do in East Greensboro to prevent this moving forward, all this violence?
Well, I alluded to some of the root causes, and I think we've all talked about that. There are a lot of things that lead to criminal activity in neighborhoods, and I told somebody, I don't know, it's maybe a week or two ago, I've had a lot of conversations, and I said, you've got people that are truly, mean people, they're criminals, they want to hurt people, right? I just believe that there's a small percentage of people that exist like that. What I also believe is that what I call situational criminals, that they've grown up in a particular kind of environment, they've been or had a lack of access to certain things that we all need, like we talked about education and proper housing and employment and things like that, which kind of drives you to do things that you wouldn't normally do, and it becomes a survival mechanism. And then at some point it becomes normalized, and then people graduate to bigger and worse crimes. And that's just, I think that's the case. And that's why I say we've got to address as a community some of these root causes. We just can't go out and arrest people, because if we go out and arrest every person that's carrying a gun today, if we don't do something on the front end, there's going to be a whole new generation of people that's going to take their place.
Okay.